John's obsession with feet started at a young age. He would often sneak into his mother's room and play with her high heels, admiring the way they looked on her feet. As he got older, his fascination with feet only grew stronger. He would often spend hours browsing through pictures of women's feet online, imagining himself kissing and licking them. But it wasn't until he was 30 years old that he finally acted on his desires. John would often hang around parks and shopping centers, waiting for the perfect opportunity to approach a woman and ask to touch her feet. Most women would quickly reject him and walk away, but every once in a while, he would find someone who was willing to indulge his fetish. He would start by gently caressing their feet, feeling the softness of their skin and the curves of their toes. Then, he would slowly bring their foot to his mouth and start sucking on their toes, savoring the taste and texture. John's technique was impeccable. He knew exactly how to use his tongue to pleasure a woman's feet, and he would often make them moan with pleasure. Some women would even let him continue for a few minutes before pulling away, embarrassed by their own arousal. But John didn't care about their reactions. He was in his own world, lost in the sensation of sucking on a woman's toes. He would often close his eyes and imagine that he was in a different place, with a different woman, fulfilling his ultimate fantasy. He would often switch between feet, making sure to give each one equal attention. He would lick and suck on every inch of their feet, from their heels to their toes, until they were completely satisfied. But eventually, the women would get uncomfortable and pull away, leaving John alone and unsatisfied. He would then move on to his next target, always on the lookout for the perfect pair of feet to fulfill his desires. One day, John's obsession got him into trouble. A woman he approached at the park was not as understanding as the others and called the police on him. He was arrested and spent 2 hours in jail before being released. But even that experience couldn't stop John from continuing his obsession. As soon as he was released, he went right back to the park, searching for his next victim. John's obsession with feet was a part of him, and he couldn't resist the urge to indulge in it. Despite the consequences, he would continue to seek out women's feet, hoping to find someone who would understand and fulfill his desires. Except for his underwear. The citizens of Gotham City were in shock as they witnessed Batman, their beloved hero, behave in ways that were completely out of character. They had always looked up to the caped crusader as a symbol of justice and morality, but now he was acting like a cruel and heartless thug. It all started when Batman came across a man on the street who had yellow teeth. Without any warning, he lunged at the man and started punching him relentlessly. The man cried and begged for mercy, but Batman showed none. He continued to beat him until the man was a bloody mess on the ground. Next, he encountered a young boy who was playing outside instead of doing his homework. Batman grabbed the boy by his collar and threw him against a nearby wall. He then proceeded to kick and punch the child, scolding him for not taking his education seriously. The people of Gotham were horrified and tried to intervene, but Batman wouldn't listen. He seemed to be on a rampage, taking out his anger on anyone who crossed his path. The situation reached its peak when Batman came across a woman walking alone at night. She was just a normal citizen, minding her own business, but Batman saw her as a whore. He grabbed her by the hair and dragged her into a dark alley where he proceeded to beat her, completely unprovoked. As the woman laid on the ground, bruised and crying, a group of police officers arrived and surrounded Batman. They were shocked to see their hero acting so violently and were about to arrest him. They saw it was actually a man in a cheap Batman costume. He frantically explained that he was an imposter and had been posing as the real Batman for attention. He suffered from a severe mental illness and had been off his medication for months. His actions had nothing to do with the real Batman, who was actually on a mission in another country at the time. The citizens of Gotham were relieved to find out that their hero was not behind these heinous acts. They also felt sorry for the imposter, who was clearly in need of